So LeBron steps forward, Duncan steps back. Duncan steps back, LeBron steps forward. And then the trap comes if you dare to come in here. The game is, I dare you to shoot.
To keep James on.
And if he falls for the trap, this is what he did the whole series. Lots of bricks.
Pick and roll pairing with Shout.
All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. Hope y'all having a good day so far. So I had a super thanks request to check this one out here, and this is going to be from Basketball Universe. And this is titled, I Believed This Lie About LeBron James for Years. And I'm intrigued by this because, honestly, I'm wondering what this lie is going to be because, you know, I went through my phases with LeBron James as well. You know, in the early days, I was a fan, and I was like hoping he'd get better. He'd stop choking because that was like his major weakness, you know, that and the jump shot. But I figured he's got plenty of years to do it. And then it didn't happen. And, you know, I was still supporting him a little bit all the way until about 2011, I guess. And then I fell off. But, you know, as far as like, I knew he wasn't like the greatest at that point. Like it was, that conversation was over. But I think for some years I did still believe some of the narratives. You know, he's a pass first guy. He's an unselfish player. Like these kind of things, even though I'd roll my eyes and be like, yeah, unselfish, but you know, he ditches every team he's up, blah, 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 you know, that kind of stuff. But on the basketball court, I'm like, okay, well, maybe you can go with that narrative until the last, like, I'd say 6 years where I've just, no. Like, I see him for exactly who he is on and off the court, and there's no going back. But I'm wondering if whatever it is that had Basketball Universe had me fooled as well. So let's get right into this, guys. First of all, thank you very much for the super thanks. Thank you for the donation. Very much appreciated. Excited to do this. And the link is going to be down below in the description for the original video here. So if you want to check out Basketball Universe's channel, go right ahead. You also see a list of channel members. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate you. And speaking of which, two new channel members on board here, guys. The Act 87, welcome on board, and Herbal Shenron. I hope I said that right. Let me know. Correct me in the comments if I didn't. Welcome on board, you guys. I really appreciate you. Thank you for the support. Let's do this. Like the video if you could, and let's get on with it.
This lie for years, and it impacted I believed this lie for years, and it impacted the way I view LeBron James. But now, I'm rethinking everything. For nearly 20 years, I have believed, or at the very least, conceded to the excuses that were made on some of his losses in the finals. After doing some digging, I now see the truth of the matter.
Okay.
The first big one is a 2007 finals defeat against the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, interesting. Okay, this one, I still give him a pass. I give him a pass. Hold up. I give him a pass for not winning. I don't think the Cavs had a shot at winning this series. I'm still to this day. This Spurs team was not going to lose to this Cavs team. However, the fact that they didn't even get one game out of it, that was shocking. That still surprises me to this day, and I can't pretend like that didn't happen. That's brutal. The other thing that happened in this series was LeBron got fully exposed for not being able to become a jump shooter. So they would just they'd open up they'd leave him wide open for a three or for a deep two. He wouldn't take it, you know. When he did, he'd brick it. He was not his game. So then they'd dare him to bring it into the rack, and then they would trap the hell out of him, forcing him to turn it over or put up a bad shot, and that fully exposed his weaknesses here. But did I expect him to win this series? Hell no. Do I now, looking back, should he have won? Not this one. Just not this one.
There are many who claim that this loss and his performance does not affect his legacy one bit. Essentially, it doesn't even count.
It does. He played terrible. There's a difference between this and Jordan losing to the 86 Celtics. What's the difference? Jordan didn't get exposed. Jordan dominated that series. He actually blew everyone's mind. That's when Bird said, like, that's God. You know what I mean? Like, all right. So no one ever left that series going, Jordan choked. No. but we did with LeBron here, because if he pulls up LeBron's numbers in these finals, they're abysmal.
During this time, I was 14 years old. I trusted whatever the talking heads were saying at the time. Looking back at it now...
Whoa, B-Ball Universe, I didn't know I was that much older than you.
It's like your parents telling you Santa Claus was real.
Yeah.
I can't believe
Hope you find your dad.
Fairy tale. Here's how they got many of us. No one is disagreeing with the take.
By the way, totally random. Who else has been following the Afro Man stuff going on? The lemon pound cake and the lawsuit that he won and everything. Like, so good, man.
The Cavaliers were not expected to win this series, but it's fair to expect LeBron James to meet the moment, to show the world just how great you are.
I mean, okay, here's the deal. If they would have lost, you know, but LeBron went out like, you know, scoring like 35 a game, 40 a game, shooting like 50%, you know, oh man. The whole narrative would be like, watch out, he's coming. You know, he's coming to get you guys. You only have a couple more years to win.
Here's the harsh truth. The Cleveland Cavaliers were swept because LeBron was awful on offense. Take a look at the numbers. He averaged 22 points per game.
Yikes.
On 35.6% shooting.
Yeah, that's it. Like right there, you can already differentiate like why this is so different than the 86 playoffs with the Bulls and Celtics, and why I don't accept that comparison. It's apples and oranges.
Just to give you an idea of how bad this was, I went through every single final series since 1960 and looked at all the players that average over 20 points per game and shot under 40% for the series. This is what I came up with. Out of the 9 occasions, he has the worst field goal percentage. In other words, we have never seen a volume score this inefficient on the biggest stage.
Hold on, let me get right back into it. Oh, I paused it like literally a second too late. 04 Kobe, yeah, that makes perfect sense. That was against the Pistons. That's where it all fell apart there. LeBron 35.6. So that's yeah. Wow. Kind of surprised by that performance by Tatum. Again with Tatum, 2 years later. Dirk, 2006, huh? Who was that that year? Who were they playing? Elgin Baylor in 66. Hayes in 79. LeBron again in 2015. Yet he averaged 35, almost 36. Interesting. 2015.
What I found very interesting is that it's worse than what Kobe Bryant did in the 2004 finals against the Detroit Pistons. It's the first thing that most people bring up to argue against his place among the all-time greats. He gets crucified for those numbers, but LeBron somehow gets a pass. How do we let that happen? Especially when we consider the contrast in the way the team schemed against Kobe and LeBron.
By the way, it's just so funny. You got,
Especially
look how they're guarding him, man. Look at this. Look at this section. And we got guys like KD and Booker who don't know how to deal with the double team. Look at this.
The contrast in the
send another one. Like, who
way
cares?
the team schemed against Kobe and LeBron. In the 04 finals, they employed a special
always a double team. When does he ever have single coverage?
Defensive scheme of breaking out of man-to-man and zoning Kobe when he got the ball. So if he tried to take it to the rim, he was met by 2 or 3 defenders before he could even...
Now, where Kobe went wrong in this series, I don't care what anybody else says, the strategy was obviously to stop him this time, all right? He needed to become a facilitator here. And that's what he didn't learn until, about 3 to 4 years after this. He finally seemed to learn this lesson. But if he would have learned this lesson here in 04, I mean, look, all the gravity is surrounding him everywhere he goes. You've got 1 shooter, 2 shooters. Drop it down for Shaq. You got options, Kobe. But back then, it was different, you know? He was out 04. I think even the biggest Kobe fan could admit he was out there trying to prove to the world, I can do this on my own. I don't need Shaq. So he was trying to do that before Shaq was even gone. That's what I truly believe for that 1 year.
Make it to the painted area. They want to force him to take long and tough outside shots over the longer Tayshaun Prince. In many instances,
that's a good look.
That's exactly what he did. The game plan that the Spurs used in 07 was similar. They employed a scheme to keep James on one side, cut down on his pick and roll pairing with Vereshchuk.
Yeah, the problem is Kobe, they had to play him all the way. You already saw the difference in just one play here, right?
Scheme.
See how he's sagging off? This is intentional. This isn't because he's a bad defender. This is a strategy. So LeBron steps forward, Duncan steps back. Duncan steps back, LeBron steps forward, and then the trap comes if you dare to come in here. The game is, I dare you to shoot.
To keep James on
and if he falls for the trap,
side,
this is what he did the whole series. Lots of bricks.
Pick and roll pairing with Varishau, which would limit the number of times.
Couldn't do that with Kobe. Sorry, I'll just rewind it now, and I'll shut up. But you couldn't do that with Kobe. Kobe was hitting those mid-range shots.
The game plan that the Spurs used in 2007 was similar. They employed a scheme to keep James on one side, cut down on his pick and roll pairing with Varishau, which would limit the number of times he would create for his teammates. But most importantly, they wanted him to shoot from
there it is. They're daring him.
The outside as much as possible.
There you go.
Bruce Bowen even said this: if LeBron was going to shoot jump shots, that's fantastic for us.
I didn't know they ever addressed it. I didn't know they ever revealed it. Okay, cool. So so that's from Bruce Bowen himself. That's the game plan. Okay, cool.
As you can see with these highlights,
now look at this.
They're giving him plenty of room to shoot. They were not contesting his jump shots the same way the Pistons were with Kobe.
Yeah, I mean, if you can convince the star player to take the shot that he's the worst at, probably about 30% at this point from deep, LeBron, then that's it. You won. Your strategy won. You're getting the look you want them to have, not the look they want to have.
It was almost like they were daring him to shoot.
Yeah, look
the
at
plan worked to perfection.
Yeah.
For that series, LeBron converted on 17.9% of his jump shots.
Say again?
That series, LeBron converted on 17.9% of his
Damn.
jump shots. If your best player is this inefficient, you cannot be expected to win any games. No matter where you stand on this polarizing player, we all must concede that he did not play well in this series. But if you're on the LeBron camp, you will surely bring up his age to excuse his performance. He was 22 years old and only in his 4th season. What did you expect? Well, I expected him to perform like the other all-time great players that went to the finals early in their careers.
I mean, okay, by Jordan's 4th season, let's say 88, 89, the media had already turned on him, saying that they can never win with Jordan being their main guy. A shooting guard who is, their lead scorer will never win a championship. That's how hard they were on MJ. So we were pretty soft on LeBron at this point, I got to say. Like, we were still, like, kind to him and being like, yeah, he's still young. He'll figure it out. But, I don't... What I'm surprised about still to this day is... Because this is what I was expecting in live time back then when watching the series and watching the Spurs just annihilate the Cavs. And believe it or not, I hated the Spurs at this point because they were our rival here in Phoenix. I was rooting for LeBron and the Cavs. I was really disappointed with them. My expectation was, all right, he learned his lesson. He's going to spend all summer in the gym, nothing but working on jump shots. You don't need to work on your dunking or any of this stuff. Free throws, jump shots. That way you turn your weakness into a strength. It's 2026. I'm still waiting for that to happen.
Let's not act like he's the only one that was able to accomplish this. We can go as far back as 1962. Jerry West was 23 years old and in his 2nd season.
Yeah. How about Magic Johnson in his rookie season?
Finals against Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics, he averaged 31.1 points per game on 46% shooting. Or what about Rick Barry in 1967? He was also 23 years old and in his 2nd season when he reached the finals. He averaged 40.8 points per game on 40% shooting against Wilt Chamberlain and the Sixers.
Crazy.
Then there's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. In his 2nd season, he won the Finals MVP. He averaged 27 points per game on 61% shooting for the series. Did we forget about Magic Johnson? This dude was a rookie and only 20 years old when he won the Finals MVP.
Yes, sir.
He averaged 21.5.
But the whole team on his back too. Like it's not just that he was a badass. He to show leadership like that on a pro level at that young of an age. That's what always blows my mind about him.
Points per game on 57% shooting. Hakeem Olajuwon was in his 2nd season and was 23 years old when he faced one of the greatest teams of all time in the finals. He averaged 24.7 points per game on 48% shooting. Then there's Shaquille O'Neal.
That's why anybody who says like, "Oh, I can't believe they drafted him instead of Jordan," guys, it was the right choice at that time. It was the right choice. Hindsight's always 2020. Now we know Jordan's the GOAT. Back then we didn't know. Some people did, like Bobby Knight, but it was already too late. The draft had taken place.
He was in his third season, and he was 23 years old. He averaged 28 points per game on nearly 60% shooting against Hakeem Olajuwon. And of course, there's Tim Duncan. He was in his second season, and he was 23 years old when he won the Finals MVP. Against a team that allowed the sixth lowest points per game average of the shot clock era, he averaged 27.4 points per game on 54% shooting. These all-time great players, even when they were just starting their careers, set the standard of how you're supposed to perform in the finals. Not all of them ended up winning, but each and every one of them performed at a very high level.
Look at that footwork.
LeBron James did not follow this trend. And
I mean, you can see it in his face too. I mean, just even right there, like this is when you know he's choking, because you could visibly see it in his face. You know, he's just completely defeated.
Follow this trend,
which is why it always blew my mind that he would like turn around and blame other people for it. We can watch you. We're watching you for the whole series. Like, you've been beat. So instead of just accepting it and being like, all right, I'm going to go work on my weaknesses in the off season, you're not going to want to see me next year. It's like he blames everybody else. It just blows my mind, man.
And I certainly don't want to hear the excuse about his age or experience when I hear this from his most loyal supporters.
May 31st, 2007, what happened that day? That was Game 5 of the 2007 Eastern Conference Finals, otherwise known as the 48 Special Game against the Pistons. From that moment forward, LeBron has been the best player in the world. The best player.
Yeah, that's BS. It's BS. By the way, I'll always tip my hat. That was a good series. LeBron's performance against Detroit, yeah, I was definitely rooting for him to win that championship after that. And I was before that anyways, tell you the truth. I was getting flashbacks of Jordan versus Bulls versus Pistons, you know, back in the bad boy era. And I was loving every second of it. Then, you know, finals came around and it is what it is. That's where he got exposed.
In the world.
The best player in the world.
Yeah, what about D Wade? What about LeBron? What about Kobe Bryant just in the short term there? You know what I mean? Like, both of those guys had much better seasons than LeBron did. And then in the long term, give me a break. You got KD, you got Steph Curry, you got all these guys, you know. Now we got Wemby, then you got Jokic. You know, when was LeBron actually the best player? Some would argue probably 2012 and 2013, a possibility there. But outside of that, in a 23-year long career, to be able to point out 2 years that, like, I think you were considered the best, that's not very impressive.
Seriously? He was already the best player in the world in 2007. If that was indeed the case, then there's absolutely no excuse for this all-time
best player in the world. Why can't you hit a jump shot?
Low performance. Sorry, you can't have it both ways. But that's not all they tricked me to believe about this postseason. I was told that the Cleveland Cavaliers had no business even reaching the finals, as if there were some 8 seed.
No, they were one in the East. They were number 1 in the East.
That made this magical
Right.
run. Let's get one thing straight. Their first 2 opponents in the playoffs both didn't have a winning record.
Yeah.
The Washington Wizards and the New Jersey Nets each had a 41-41 record. Am I seriously supposed to be impressed that they beat those 2 teams? In the conference
Eastern Conference, man. Eastern Conference era.
Finals, they were facing a team that won 3 more games than they did.
Yeah.
We're talking about
no more Ben Wallace. So everybody remember, because I used to forget this too. This Pistons team is not the same Pistons team.
Same team that lost their most valuable player in the offseason, Ben Wallace. You don't believe me? Let's look at the numbers. In 2006, the Pistons won a franchise best 64 games. In the following year, they won 53 games. We're talking an 11-game difference.
And Flip was the coach too. Flip Saunders, as opposed to Larry Brown. But yeah, I mean, listen, the Pistons won their championship, this Pistons team, with defense. You no longer have the best defender on your team, Ben Wallace, the DPOY. Yeah, your whole identity shifted.
Chauncey Billups.
That's like taking Steph Curry out of the Warriors, Splash Brothers era. And it's like, well, you just lost your best offensive player. Of course you're not going to be as good anymore.
Richard Hamilton, Rasheed Wallace, and Tayshaun Prince were all still there, and they were all healthy. In fact, the Cavaliers finished above them in defensive rating. With Big Ben gone, the Pistons no longer had the advantage on that end of the court.
Yeah.
And on offense,
I would probably argue Tayshaun Prince was the best defender at that point after Ben left, and then probably Rip.
They had no one that was even close to being as good as LeBron. Again, is my mind supposed to be blown away because they beat this version of the Pistons? To be clear, I'm not trying to take anything away from LeBron. He had a legendary performance in that Game 5.
Yep.
He deserves all the credit in the world for leading his team to the finals.
I agree. That's when I thought he was done choking, too, by the way. The way he stepped up against Detroit, and say what you want about the defense, I agree. I do. But he did it on the big stage, and he stepped up. I thought it was behind him, but then it happened right in the next series against the Spurs, crumbled again.
But that Cavaliers defense, which was easily a top 5 defensive team, has been overlooked far too often to uplift the efforts of an individual. The reality is that it wasn't a miracle that the second best team in the Eastern Conference reached the finals. LeBron deserves recognition for leading his team to the finals, but he should also be blamed for his inability to produce his standard performance at that stage of his career, something that so many of the all-time great players were able to do. But this pattern of eliminating any blame for his shortcomings in the finals only got worse. That's especially the case for the 2014 finals against the San Antonio Spurs. They suffered a gentleman's sweep and lost by an average margin of 14 points per game. That is the second highest in finals history. The Spurs were playing at such a high level. The cutting, passing, and shooting that they displayed throughout the series were simply exquisite. It's no wonder that they shot 52.8% for the series, which is the finals record. It was such a historic beatdown that so many people were claiming that you couldn't blame LeBron for this defeat. His team stood no chance against them.
Oh man. You can't say that about the Miami Big Three. You could say that about the opposition of the Miami Big Three. Yeah, you guys didn't stand a chance. These guys stacked the deck over here. But you can't say that about the team that stacked the deck. Oh, they didn't stand a chance. Give me a freaking break. That's like getting the dream team together in 92 and they lost to the 92 Knicks. And you're like, yeah, the dream team didn't stand a chance. They didn't have enough help. Get out of here.
And they were exhausted from their previous 3 playoff runs where they reached the finals and won 2 straight titles.
Well, that's why he's not the greatest of all time then, because Jordan did that twice. So, sorry.
Hold on for just a moment. Isn't this excuse used exclusively for players that are on teams with very little talent? Think of the 2018 Cavaliers or the 2001 Philadelphia 76ers. Does the 2014 Miami Heat deserve to be mentioned among those teams? I mean, this was the exact same roster for the 2013 title team.
This should be considered one of the greatest rosters of all time, the greatest teams assembled of all time. The results can really be debated because they lost 2 out of the 4 years they were together. So, but on paper, this should have been, this should be up there with, the top teams of all time. They just under-delivered.
The team that won 66 games and had that historic 27-game winning streak. There's people who think that they're one of the 10 greatest teams of all time. You're meaning to tell me that all of a sudden, they're no longer good enough to give the Spurs a worthy fight? We're talking about the same team you beat in the finals. Mm-hmm. Do you know what offseason move the Spurs made to improve their roster?
And that's why I hate. I hate's a strong word, but I really don't like. I don't like the excuses. LeBron fans, just grow up. Grow up. You lose. Just say, well, we got our asses kicked today. I don't have a problem doing it. Why do you guys have a problem doing it? You're a fan of a dude, whatever. You like the way he plays. Well, you want to celebrate when he wins? Cool. Well, when he loses, don't make excuses. Just be like, well, hope he gets them next time.
They signed Marco Bellinelli. That was literally it. These were the exact same teams. But what I couldn't believe I fell for was the excuse about the advanced age of the players from the Heat. If we look at each team's top 5
I'm pretty sure the Spurs were older
players, look at the age difference.
Let's see.
The trio of
it's close. It's actually closer than I thought. This is pretty balanced.
Duncan, Parker, Ginobili were old. They were on their way out.
Yeah.
LeBron and Bosh were still in their athletic prime.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, because the big three is right here. So average age of about 30 years old. And then you got the big three here, average age of about, I'd pull that up to about 33 years old, maybe 34 years old. No. It's going to be, about 34 years old. So yeah, it is quite a difference there.
Wade was limited, but not in the same way that Duncan and Manu were. They got ran out the court by a bunch of old guys.
Good Lord.
And imagine how tired they were from their decade-long dominance in the playoffs. But that's not the only narrative that we let the media get away with. Because of how badly they beat the Heat, they claimed that the Spurs were some unbeatable team. But if we look at their playoff run, we can quickly debunk their claim. Look at what happened in the first round. They got pushed to 7 games by the 8th seed Dallas Mavericks. Well, that's because they played them so many times in the 2000s. There was familiarity between the two. Yeah, that's also not true.
Yeah, that works two sides too. So if there's familiarity, then why weren't the Spurs able to expose them and destroy them? Wouldn't they know exactly how to do that if they knew them so well? So if you want to use that excuse for Dallas, you gotta keep it real for the same for the Spurs too.
Dirk Nowitzki and Devin Harris were the only players that faced the Spurs in any of those previous 5 playoff series. This was a completely different Mavs team, but they played them tough and they were able to take away their strengths effectively. The OKC Thunder also gave the Spurs a great fight in the conference finals. They won games 3 and 4 convincingly. When they were eliminated in game 6, they took the Spurs to overtime. Call me crazy, but I think it's fair to expect LeBron James and the 2-time defending champions with Hall of Famers Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to give them as good of a fight as Dirk Nowitzki and Kevin Durant did.
Absolutely, unless you absolutely fall apart, which is what happened. And then what happens when LeBron falls apart usually? He leaves, and he did.
Instead, they got blown out in the same manner as LaMarcus Aldridge and the second-year Damian Lillard did. Unlike in 2007, LeBron played up to his standards. He averaged 28.2 points on 57% shooting, 7.8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals per game. He also shot 52% from the 3. Listen, those are fantastic numbers. He shouldn't be criticized in the same way he did for his 2007 or 2011 performances in the finals. But as the leader of that team, isn't it fair to question why your troops weren't mentally prepared to take on that team? You know that your opponent wanted blood. They wanted nothing but revenge. Where was the fight?
Yeah.
Why did this team look so defeated so quickly? And if you see that your teammates don't have it in them, why don't you take it yourself? The numbers say that they can't stop you. Go and try to completely dominate them. That could open up things for your teammates and get them more involved in the offense. If you're the leader of your team, if you're the best player in the world, if you're truly in the GOAT conversation, this is part of your responsibilities.
It is.
This is
what go back to the Magic Johnson as a rookie in the NBA Finals. You know, never fear. Magic is here. Everyone. You know, and that's not like a myth. That's a real story that really happened on the bus. You know, you need to be able to. If you believe in your leader, you believe you have a chance to win. You'll run through a wall for the leader. But if you don't believe in your leader, which I don't believe when it comes to the finals, anybody ever really believes in LeBron. Let's be real. You see with the body language and everything, like LeBron doesn't believe they're going to win. So why would any of his teammates believe they're going to win? There's nothing to follow here.
It's expected from a player of his caliber. And on his watch, he allowed his team to be blown out in historic fashion. Does he deserve all of the blame?
No, not at all.
He doesn't.
Not at all. But he was the leader. You know, he was the leader for those 3 years, especially. So right here, he does take the leadership role blame. However, No, man, this is a full team thing. You got Ray Allen, you got Dwayne Wade, you got Chris Bosh, all this stuff going on. Yeah, you should be winning.
Also doesn't mean that we can completely pardon this finals loss just because he posted great numbers. Not when you have that kind of talent on your roster.
No, if you're having a great series and your team isn't stepping it up, that's when you go at your teammates as a leader. You know, I'm doing everything I can out here. You know, can I get some fucking support? You know, wake them up.
And when your team just won 2 straight titles, that's what we expect from every other great player. But we all know why they changed the goalpost for him. His biggest fans and supporters need to find some kind of way to prove that he's the GOAT with a losing finals record.
Yeah.
The best way they can do this is by either devaluing his final losses or completely stripping all responsibility by the way he or his team performed. And for years, I almost fell for it, but I've never seen things more clearly. But what about you all? Did you ever fall for this narrative? Is it fair to criticize him for his 2007 and 2014 losses? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.
Great video, and very relative for me. So I'll just summarize it real quick because I feel like I already kind of did it. But quick summary. Back then and still to this day, I give him a pass for losing 07. That's it. That's where I stand on it. I don't think they should have won. However, the way he lost, not like that. I don't give him a pass for the performance. I give him a pass for not winning. You know, if it would have gone like 5-6 games, something like that, that would have been a lot cooler. Or if he at least would have shown that he had a good series, but his teammates weren't there, that would have been something else. 2014, never once have I ever given him a pass for that, nor will I ever give him a pass for that. We're not talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers first stint anymore. We're talking about the Miami Big Three, the super team. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not blah, blah, blah. That freaking team. We already won. We don't even have to play no more games. We got Chris Bosh, we got LeBron James. Like, come on. That team. They don't get a pass for jack shit in my mind. Anything on except for winning, you don't get a pass for it. And now if they would have stayed together for like 10 years and they would have racked up like 6 championships out of those 10 years, yeah, man, we'd be looking at these losses and be like, what's the big deal? But the fact that he promised 8 championships, he only stayed there 4 years, and in those 4 years, they got their asses spanked twice in the finals and only delivered on 2 championships, I will never give them a pass for jack shit. And the guy who guaranteed those championships was none other than LeBron James. So you better freaking deliver. And he didn't deliver. And instead of owning up to it, he ran away back home to Cleveland. So no, I'll never give a pass for that one whatsoever. They should have won. They could have won. They were expected to win, and they failed. It is what it is. You win some, you lose some. But stop excusing it away like, oh, the super team had no chance against the organically created team. Get the hell out of here. You're stacking the deck. You should win. If you don't, you just get out of my poker table. You know, escort this guy out of here. This guy's crazy. He's had too much to drink. All right, I'm out of here, you guys. Thanks for the request to do this one. This was a good one. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Leave your comments down below on what your opinions are now that you've heard mine. Whether you agree with me or you disagree with me. That's the beauty of sports. So let me know your opinion down below. We'll have a good old conversation. And like the vid on the way out if you could. Hype the vid on the way out if you could. All that good stuff. Subscribe. You want more content like this? Go check out Basketball Universe's channel. Link is down below in the description. And most importantly is to be water, my friends.